It is said that every story must have a beginning, a middle, and an end, preferably in that order. I suppose it's bad form to give away the end of a story, but it was on day 5 that I captured the defining photo, not only for this trip, but perhaps my entire year. It was of a subject I had walked past countless times and never noticed, pure beauty, hidden in plain sight. When I began my hike that morning, I didn't have a particular photo in mind. As with the previous 2 days, I simply hoped to be inspired by something I saw. This was my first hike back into the Narrows on this trip. The stormy conditions from the past few days gave way to beautiful cloudless skies, perfect for photographing reflected light. I set up my camera along a familiar bend in the river and watched as sunlight spilled down a nearby canyon wall. That light was reflected into the scene in front of me. With plenty of film in my backpack, I set up a simple shot of the river meandering between 2 massive boulders. It was a very interesting scene, though not as grand as some of my previous shots from the Narrows. I've learned over the years that it's best to shoot first and leave the decision-making process for when I get my film back from the lab. It's strange how some scenes, as benign as they may seem at the moment, have greater value when separated from reality and viewed on a light table. Ever since my first trip to Zion, I've had a particular composition in mind. A beautiful cottonwood up against a simple red sandstone cliff. But this photo has always eluded me. It seems simple enough, but it's been difficult to find a clean composition. As I hiked out of the Narrows that afternoon, I happened upon a tree I hadn't noticed in past years. It was pushed against a sandstone cliff, most of which was covered in fresh moss. What struck me most was the color of the sandstone. The dark purplish rock was bathed in warm reflected light. The leaves on the tree were very full and showed a wonderful mix of yellow and green. The combination of purple, yellow, and green was an absolute feast for the eyes and something I hadn't seen before in the Narrows. It was by chance that I happened to glance up at this tree while hiking out of the Narrows that day, but I knew immediately what I had found. My timing was perfect. The tree was at the peak of fall color, the scene was in beautiful reflected light, and rain from the past few days made the wall come alive with fresh moss. I quickly set up my camera and exposed 2 sheets of film. During these 30-second exposures, not even the faintest of wind rustled those leaves. It was the easiest photo I had taken on the trip, and certainly a matter of being in the right place at the right time.